What's new from Apple? There's the new iPhone 16 Pro, built for Apple Intelligence. And it comes with the all-new camera control, giving you an easier way to quickly access your camera tools. The new Apple Watch Series 10 has our biggest display and our thinnest design ever. And this? It's the sound of active noise cancellation, now available on one of 2 new AirPods 4 models. So quiet. Check out all of the new products and new features at apple.com. You can even buy yourself something new. See apple.com for product availability updates. Apple Intelligence coming this fall.
This is what you do when you've just found that statement handbag on eBay and you want to build an entire wardrobe around it. You start selling to keep buying. Yep, on eBay. Over that all-black everything phase? List it and buy all the color. Feeling more vintage than ever? It's out with the new and in with the pre-loved. Next thing you know, you've refreshed your wardrobe basically without spending a dime. Yeah, eBay, the place to buy and sell new, pre-loved, vintage, and rare fashion.
Hear that? Yeah, that's the sound of you relaxing, because now you're managing diabetes with the Freestyle Libre 3 system. You get to know your glucose levels and where it's headed. Manage your diabetes with more confidence with the Freestyle Libre 3 system. Ready to learn more about the #1 prescribed CGM in the U.S.? Visit freestylelibre.us to learn more. Based on retail sales data for patients' last filled prescription by manufacturer. Refer to the FLAIR NL4 study published in BMJ Open Diabetes Research and Care 2019. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.
Hearken to thine inner voice and give thyself a bell. No task shalt be denied if thy will be strong and true. For when a bell is rung, it carries with it the sound of courage, that giveth strength to even the meekest of hearts. So ring thine own bell, and be mindful of its power and might, for 'twill be thy guide in whatever task thou setst thy sight.
Excuse me, waiter, this coffee tastes like mud. Yes, sir, it's fresh ground. Who hides Easter eggs that you never want to find? The Dust Bunny. Why did the dad love his barbecue tongs? They just clicked.
If you just read the bio for Dr. Steve, host of Weird Medicine on Sirius XM 103 and made popular by 2 really comedy shows, Opie and Anthony and Ron and Fez, you would have thought that this guy was a bit of, a clown.
Why can't you give me the respect that I'm entitled to?
I've got diphtheria crushing my esophagus. I've got Ebola virus dripping from my nose. I've got the leprosy of the heartbound, exacerbating my incredible woes. I want to take my brain out and blast it with the wave, an ultrasonic echographic and a pulsating shave. I want a magic pill for all my ailments, the health equivalent to Citizen Kane. And if I don't get it now in a tablet, I think I'm doomed and I'll have to go insane. I want a requiem for my disease, so I'm paging Dr. Steve. Dr. Steve!
From the world-famous Cardiff Electric Network studios, it's Weird Medicine, the first and still only uncensored medical show in the history of broadcast radio, now a podcast. I'm Dr. Steve with my little pal, Dr. Scott, the traditional Chinese medicine practitioner who gives me street cred from whack alternative medicine ass hats. Hello, Dr. Scott.
Hey, Dr. Steve.
And my wife, Tacie, my partner in all things. Hello, Tacie.
Hello.
This is a show for people who would never listen to a medical show on the radio or the internet. If you have a question you're embarrassed to take to your regular medical provider, if you can't find an answer anywhere else, give us a call at 347-766-4323. That's 347-POOHEAD. Follow us on Twitter at Weird Medicine or at DrScottWM. Visit our website at drsteve.com for podcasts, medical news, and stuff you can buy. Most importantly, we're not your medical providers. Take everything you hear with a grain of salt. Don't act on anything you hear on the show without talking it over with your healthcare provider. All right, very good. Please go to stuff.drsteve.com. Stuff.drsteve.com. I don't want to sound like Aaron Imholt and start begging people to go there, but
Here we are.
Here we are. That's dropped off a little bit. That's okay. It's stuff.drsteve.com. Yeah, you know what? You all have agency. Just do whatever you want to do. But if you do go to stop.drsteve.com.
Buy stuff.
Yeah, you can just click right through to go to Amazon, and everything that you purchase there helps us out a little bit, and we really do appreciate it. If you're interested in following along with the Phoenix trial that I'm doing, I'm actually in my recuperative period now. You go a month doing it twice a week. This is the acoustic shockwave therapy device that you can do in your own home. And if you do it at a med spa with somebody holding your jungle region for you and running a probe up and down, which sounds sexy, I'm sure it is not. Really hard to keep the shrinkage from creeping in when somebody's going after you with this probe, but it's not bad. It just, kind of it would be embarrassing for me. Although I will have to say I did do a Brazilian wax for this show once, so I guess I don't have a whole lot of shame. But I do really think that this thing is helping me. I didn't need a whole lot of help, but I need some. I'm 67 years old. What the hell? Everybody, where there's natural aging and natural changes, and I can already tell that it is improving my number of. Oh, I don't have to. TMI.
TMI.
Okay,
TMI.
go fuck both of you. Here you go. Yeah. Here.
And lady, douchebag.
All right. Anyway, but it is helping. But if you want to check it out, just go to ed.drsteve.com. You get a discount. You can get it significantly off of the list price, and it's a shitload cheaper to get it and get one of your own and do it at home by yourself than it is to go to a med spa and do it.
Sure.
And so it's a month on, twice a week, then a month off, and then a month on, twice a week, and then you're kind of done, and you just do it a little bit of maintenance once a month or something. So we'll give you the results of that in another few weeks. But anyway, go to simplyherbals.net, simplyherbals.net. That's Dr. Scott's website. And check Tacie and I out on patreon.com/weirdmedicine. We had the troika of Opie and Anthony. We've had Pete Davidson on there. We're going to have some. I always feel guilty just asking someone, "You come be on our show."
Don't feel guilty asking.
You're right.
No,
you're right. I need to do that.
Good point, Dave. Good point.
It's a good point. So, but we'll have some other guests on there as well, and then we'll do 100% of any questions that are sent in. We'll answer them no matter how ridiculous. Go to patreon.com/weirdmedicine. And then if you just want to goof, just go to cameo.com/weirdmedicine, and I'll say fluid to your mama. I'll say anything you want me to, basically, within reason. I think I turned one of them down. And it's cheap. Cameo.com/weirdmedicine. Don't forget to check out Dr. Scott's website at simplyherbals.net. That's simplyherbals.net, the location of the greatest CBD nasal spray, actually the only CBD nasal spray that I'm aware of in these United States. And it's a really good product, great delivery system. Well done, Dr. Scott.
Good stuff. Thanks, sir.
Give me one of these.
Better than my technical skills.
What Dr. Scott is talking about is we are on take 3. So it's fine because somebody doesn't know how to turn their microphone on, right? And then check us out at drsteve.com. We've got all the podcasts and articles and stuff there. And no Tacie's Time of Topics this week. No fast vag facts. No mom swipes left. Although I think they sent us a question. We're going to table that till next time. And here we go.
Number one thing. Don't take advice from some asshole on the radio.
We're going to go straight into questions. We promised this for quite some time. And so we've got a ton of questions from the Fluid family, which is our YouTube channel chat room. We don't make a big deal out of it. We make a big deal out of the people that come, but we don't promote it. So if you show up and there's 14 people in there, that's fine because, this is a radio show. It's not a YouTube show. But if you want to hang out with us, just follow me on Twitter or go to our YouTube channel and just search for Weird Medicine with Dr. Steve. You'll find it. And then just click subscribe. And when we go live, it'll send you a notification. All right. I actually didn't even tweet this out this time. So we'll see how well we do with that. Well, you know what? Screw that. I am going to tweet it out. I'm going to tweet it out right now.
Go for it.
All right. So here's some questions. Here's one for you, Dr. Scott. Or is it? Uh-oh.
Hey, Steve and friends.
Hey.
It's Evan from Wisconsin.
Hey, Evan.
Very quick, basic question. Long story short, I have a pretty poor diet, and I've never really learned proper nutrition, I don't think. And I'm just wondering if you can give a real basic just outline of what I should try to take in every single day, because I'm trying to rework my eating habits. So that's all. Thank you. Love the show. Bye.
Yeah, what do you think, Scott?
I think it's there are some pretty simple things you can do. That Mediterranean diet we've talked about a bunch. Substituting meat.
Substituting feet.
Fish. I'm sorry, Steve. I butchered it 3 times. This is number 4.
Now we do like pork feet. We surely do like some pork feet. It's good to know them's are good for you.
I like them pickled pork feet myself.
Yep, them's are good. As Dr. Scott says you should. Anyway.
Jeez, I'm a doofus. So anyway, we've talked about the Mediterranean diet. We like to substitute fish a lot of times for red meat.
You were going to say fish and meat. You conflated fish and meat. Yes. I get it.
Yeah, kind of like I conflated my microphone earlier. But huge fan of substituting fruits and vegetables for snacks. Full of salt, full of processing fried stuff. Potato chips, etc. But one thing I love to do is remind people that the diet's important, but also the what you eat and how you eat it is important. For instance, cold foods. Not a big fan of cold drinks. Not a big fan of if you're going to be eating things because it slows your digestion. Yeah. You want your digestion to work quickly, efficiently. The more efficient it is, the less you dilute the stomach acid with fluids when you're eating. Typically, the better your digestion is, the less bloating you have, and the better you do with absorbing your nutrients. Huge fan of oatmeal in the mornings. I love oatmeal, blueberries, peanuts, almonds, etc. Avocados are great substitutes as snacks.
Avocados are healthy fats.
Yep. And the peanuts again.
Olive oil. Just what I've told a lot of people is just if you eat a varied diet, then you're not going to miss certain micronutrients. Right. If you have someone cleaning your house and they always miss this corner. They get everything else, but, just routinely they miss this corner. And then, after a year or two, you see it looks, there's all this filth in the corner or there's dust buildup or, whatever. And it's just because they're systematically omitting that. And when you eat like our son does, a very monotonous diet, and we're working on him with that. Our other son's getting out of it, but the one kid he is afraid to eat certain things because it messes his stomach up, and so he's really contracted his diet. Yep. And when you have a monotonous diet, then you may be missing routinely certain micronutrients, and over time that effect can build up or compound. I've seen people in my practice that just ate such a bland diet that they got scurvy. I've seen a case of scurvy in my career. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The person ate nothing but vitamin C devoid things, canned beans, and I can't remember what the heck he ate. And so I've actually seen a case of scurvy.
Wow.
And you can do the same thing with other micronutrients that seem to be important. So eating lots of different types of vegetables, different kinds of meat. And I've just really been interested in the data on vegan diets and longevity. And I'm going to look some of that up while Tacie is, because she's vigorously raising her hand over there.
All I have to say is if your plate is colorful, isn't that supposed to be a good thing?
That's a good thing.
With Skittles.
Chocolate brownie.
M&Ms.
Very, another great thing is to just shop, the perimeter of the grocery store. Typically, you'll find a lot more of
That's
them.
interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's kind of how they set things up.
Sure.
That's some other good advice. But remember, warm foods, warm drinks, that does help with your digestion and and I'm also a fan of supplements.
Do you know what a fruitarian is?
A fruitarian, I can imagine.
A fruitarian.
Hey, but listen, the way my day's gone so far, I'm sure my guess would be way off. Fruitarian is a nut, a very strange person.
I am a fruitarian.
Oh, no.
I want to eat only plants and products that do not result in damage to the plant itself.
Oh, my goodness.
So that would be apples and nuts, but not carrots or potatoes. There was a very famous fruitarian, and his name was Kane from Kung Fu, David Carradine. Or John Carradine. Was it John or David? It was David, right? And Dr. Scott is a pescatarian. He excludes meat, but eats fish and seafood.
Yep.
And I saw you one time eat some godforsaken thing. I can't remember why you did that. You were starving or something. What was that you ate? Do you remember? You would have to remember it.
Probably a barbecue sandwich.
That's what it was. It was a barbecue sandwich, yeah.
Every once in a while I get that kind of carnivorous craving.
And then there's a thing called a dirty vegetarian.
Ooh.
They avoid meat and fish, but they do not pay particular attention to their diet, eat lots of ready-made and confectionery products. So you can be a vegetarian and eat nothing but
trash.
candy.
Yeah, and eat trash.
Yeah. And so I think I am a flexitarian, which I value a balanced diet where you eat meat or fish in moderation, but not particularly often, because I'll go days sometimes without eating a meat. So are you familiar with the orthorexic diet?
No.
Okay, the followers of this diet force themselves to have a healthy diet and are afraid of getting sick from unhealthy food. And they set their own definitions of what is healthy, and you'll recognize this. Well, some refrain from certain foods like household sugar. Others eliminate whole food groups and eat nothing but raw food. It's a compulsive behavior in many people. But I've seen people just go, does your bread have sugar in it? And it's like, yeah, you're eating bread. Starches are sugars.
Part of it, yeah.
I mean, well, what in the...
I know.
I mean, sugar is the enemy, no question about that. But, just go F yourself with that. So anyway, if there was one particular answer, we would know it.
Right, and there is not one.
And there is some data on vegan diets, prolonging lifespan. However, you got to do it right, because you can have a vegan diet where you're just eating pasta all the time, pasta and olive oil, and you can be just 600 pounds being a vegan. So you got to be very careful with that.
Yep.
So just my recommendation, like Scott's, just eat lots of different things and mostly healthy things, and everything in moderation, except for everything in moderation. Every once in a while, you blow it out your ass. I think that's good for you. Right?
Yes, agreed. Yeah, and that's one thing I like to say, too, is if you just really, really, really love something, crave something, well, eat a little bit of it. You don't have to.
I can't do that.
See, I can take one piece of pie, and it'll last me 5 days.
Get out of here.
Oh, easily. One bite.
See, you know what my motto is?
I walk in, yeah.
2 little pieces of pie is just like one big one.
It's true.
Yeah. And, Lady Diagnosis, who hadn't been on the show in a long time, but she can just eat one potato chip. If I eat one potato chip, I will eat the whole bag.
I'm like that, too.
So I just can't have them.
I'm very fortunate.
Salt and that oil and that thing.
So good.
It's so good.
You throw chocolate on those. Crunchy, salty, chocolatey, sweet, fat. There was a study that showed that people prefer fat over sugar. And the way they did it was they took chocolates that were high in fat and chocolates that were high in sugar, and people would prefer the ones that were high in fat. Kind of interesting.
I like to mix them up.
Yeah.
Sugar and fat together. Chocolate.
Yeah.
Oh, M&M peanuts.
A little bit of salt in there.
Jesus. Or a Mr. Good bar.
Oh, yeah. Jeez.
So would you recommend this guy go see a nutritionist, or would they do the triangle on him?
No, well, they're kind of getting away from the pyramid. Yeah, the pyramid sucked.
Yes.
It was, and if people don't know what we're talking about, that's actually good. But, in the 60s, they developed this, or maybe it was the 50s, developed this food pyramid where it said that the vast majority, the base of the pyramid was grains. And so that's when, you got to eat white bread with every meal and all this kind of stuff. And what they were doing was promoting grain sales. And that was really what kind of drove this thing. And you see the nation's obesity go. If you look at videos from back in the 40s, or videos, but films that were filmed in the 40s of just groups of people at a sporting event or something like that, and then do it now, it's amazing the difference.
Oh, heck yeah.
The level of obesity is insane in this country, and it wasn't always like that. And but anyway, so the food pyramid kind of blows chunks. But I think most nutritionists will tell you just a good balanced diet. If you have glucose intolerance, you can still eat bread and stuff. You just have to limit the amount. And I always told people, no white bread but brown bread, no white pasta but brown pasta, no white rice but brown rice, that kind of stuff. And that really does help some people that don't have to be on insulin reducing, glucose reducing medications, but have a predilection for it and want to be a little bit healthier. So,
right on.
All right, here's one for you, Dr. Scott.
Hey, Dr. Steve, this is Alan. We've spoken before about insomnia and shift work syndrome and sleeping pills, and I've been on Ambien before, and it was for far too long. It was about 16 months when it was supposed to be short term. And I finally got off a night shift and was able to get to a somewhat normal sleep schedule. But I ended up started listening to Dr. Huberman from Stanford, the neurobiologist.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know who he is.
He's a neuroscientist. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes, this question is for Dr. Scott. To talk about magnesium threonate and theanine and apigenin. I've started to use those, and it's had some good effects, but it's also had some slight stomach issues, but it seems that I've gotten past that. But is this a viable option that could be long-term? I've also started using lavender and aromatherapy and all that. But, yeah, if you could talk about shift work syndrome and other alternatives aside from Ambien and melatonin, because I also understand melatonin can have some serious side effects.
Well, okay.
To include testosterone decrease. Thanks for your help, Dr. Steve.
Yeah, man.
And Dr. Scott.
Oh, yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
Cool, thank you.
So I know a little bit about theanine and apigenin or apigenin.
Okay.
Apigenin is just a flavonoid. They find it in celery and apples and other things like that. And one of the things that they've used it for is decreasing the likelihood of developing breast cancer. Oh. So I've not heard about this as
a sleep aid.
As a sleep aid. So while Dr. Scott talks about his thing, I may just go into take a deeper dive. Theanine is just an amino acid. Mm-hmm. It's found in tea and mushrooms, and it comes in L and D. It's an L and D isomer, so there's a left-sided molecule and a right-sided molecule, and it kind of acts like glutamate in the body, but then When it comes to sleep, what it does is it affects the brain chemicals of GABA and dopamine and serotonin. So people will use it for anxiety. They'll use it as a nootropic and for stress and stuff like that. Not a whole lot of good scientific evidence to support those uses. So anyway.
But probably not going to hurt you.
I wouldn't think so.
I wouldn't
Although
think so.
I do remember when people were taking L-tryptophan.
Yep.
And really shouldn't be any downsides to that either. It's just an amino acid. But when made in the lab improperly, it caused a rash of people who had this thing called scleroderma. And some of them died from it.
It caused scleroderma.
But it wasn't.
Cow.
It wasn't the tryptophan. It was they had messed the molecule up.
Oh, well.
Let me look that up while you're
like
talking
a filler
about your part.
or something.
Yeah, it could have been a filler, or they just didn't produce. You're making it in an organic laboratory, basically organic chemistry lab, and you can screw it up.
Yeah.
And it was really bad. Go ahead.
Yeah, so just for insomnia, I've battled insomnia my whole life, so I know a couple things about it. And a couple of really important things. A, make sure you have a healthy diet. Not a lot of sugars, not a lot of caffeines, especially late in the day, because that certainly will throw it off. And foods that are hard to digest can kind of keep you up at night. It causes bloating, abdominal pain. The other thing is making sure that you don't always focus on knocking yourself out to sleep. But a lot of times what you can do to help that sleep is to increase your energy during the daytime. During your waking hours, making sure you get lots of activity and burn off all of the energy you can. So at night you can sleep. And Tacie, question? Or are you going to add to?
Oh, I was going to add to whenever you were done.
No, I thought she had a good question. But so
I'm not going to ask you a question.
Finish your thing, and then that means she'll talk.
So there we go.
It's okay.
So again, at night though, if you're really needing some sleep aids, you hear a lot about magnesium. The magnesium glycinate, which you was speaking of earlier, is a wonderful natural muscle relaxer, very easily absorbed, and you don't poop it out like you do mag citrate. So that's one benefit of that. Okay. You'll hear people talk about taking melatonin. I personally love melatonin, but you'll have people that have tried it and didn't have success with it. And sometimes it's because they've taken it improperly. Sometimes melatonin take a long time to break down. So you always want to get a quick acting one, so you don't have to take it 3 hours before you go to sleep.
Is that a gummy?
You can. Sometimes it's a gummy. Sometimes it's a sublingual drop. I have a really quick acting capsule that works extremely well. I'm a huge fan of the CBD oils and CBD gummies and things like that.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, you have a conflict of interest on that.
Well, but
I also will concur.
Yeah, but they have shown to help calm people down. There are some old Chinese herbal medicine formulas if you have someone in your
they had insomnia back in
China.
ancient China. Sure,
that's right.
They worked on this shit for 4,000 years. So what did they come up with?
Well, in one of them, I actually. That's my Stress Less formula for Simply Herbals is based off of some of the things they use to help calm people down at night. And one of the things, believe it or not, in the ingredients is oyster shell. It's a cooling natural herb.
Really?
Ground up. And
it's calcium, though, right?
It is, but it helps to calm you down at night. So my Stress Less works pretty well. So, the biggest thing is just be really cautious trying to knock yourself out.
Right.
Really work on all of the other things. And another thing I'll tell you, too.
Let me throw this out there. If you take hypnotics to sleep, there is strong evidence it increases all-cause mortality.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. They don't know why. But if you take hypnotics every night to sleep, then those people tend to have a lower lifespan. Now, it may just be that people with chronic insomnia have a lower lifespan anyway. So it may not be a cause, but again, a marker.
Yeah, a couple of things real quickly, too, is Dr. Stephen, is from your perspective, the medical, more allopathic perspective is, for males, I'm a huge fan of making sure testosterone is normal.
Yeah.
Typically, if testosterone is really low, you don't have as much energy in the daytime. You don't sleep as well at nighttime.
Yeah.
So, and I can always tell if my testosterone gets low, I start having poor sleep.
Yeah.
So I'll do my shot. I energy in the daytime. I sleep better at night. Makes a huge difference.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, and what makes sense, just biennial rhythms and hormonal shifts. So just make sure you're medically okay.
Yeah.
Medically healthy.
Yep. Don't exercise too close to sleep time.
Yep.
Exercise is good, but too close to sleep time, not good.
Mm-hmm.
The best I've ever slept was when I would do a river run.
Oh, yeah.
And you're expending all of that energy keeping your body temperature up because you're immersed in cold water a lot of the times. And then you are paddling and just, for your life, but you don't think about getting tired because if you do and you're on the not the Gauley River, God, good Lord, I'm having a senior moment, but the New River, and you end up there was a rapids there called Greyhound School Bus. And that's because you could put a Greyhound school bus in it.
Oh, wow.
And if you got caught in that damn thing, you were going to die. So you don't even think about getting tired until you get off the river and you have a beer or two and you eat something and then you go hit the sack and you'll sleep for 12 hours straight. It's awesome. So getting some exercise early in the day, again, like Scott was saying, helping to expend some of that energy, and your body wants to recuperate after that.
I think we're missing a big part of this as well.
Yeah,
with sleep hygiene.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, and these are not fun things. I mean, establishing a regular sleep schedule, using naps with care, not exercising physically too close to bedtime.
Right.
Limiting worry, good luck with that. Limiting exposure to light in the hours before sleep.
Particularly
getting out
blue
of bed.
light.
Yes.
If you read in bed with your iPad, turn the blue sensors off. They all will do that now.
Getting out of bed if sleep does not come. Not using bed for anything but sleep and sex.
Or just using it just for sleep, right?
Yes. Avoiding alcohol as well as nicotine, caffeine, and other stimulants. I'm ignoring you. In the hours before bedtime and having a peaceful, comfortable, and dark sleep environment.
That is the thing. We have all these stupid LEDs on everything. Cover those up. If you've got an Echo, and now it's turned on. If you have an Alexa in your house that's in your room that you use for an alarm, you can tell it to turn its display off. I hear Beck do that every night. Alexa, turn off your display.
Oh, well.
And then you can take electrician's tape and cover up some of the chargers and stuff that have lights on them. I'm glad they have lights on them so they're working, but really I can tell if it's working by when I plug something in, if it starts charging. So you don't really need that.
Yep.
But I have one that is so bright that I can almost read by it.
Oh, wow.
And so just covering that stuff up, having a dark room because your pituitary wants a light and dark cycle. And did you mentioned melatonin, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. The melatonin gummies, not the pills.
Yeah. So and I agree. Taste hygiene is a huge thing. My whole life I never could sleep, so I always had a TV in my room and always kept the TV running.
Yeah.
Because I'd lay there just wide-eyed and finally.
And that was why.
About a year and a half ago, took it out of the bedroom. I thought I could never sleep without a television, but it's like
really until a year and a half ago.
Yes, and I thought I had to have it to sleep. But
what did Robin think about that?
I didn't love it.
Yeah. Tacie used to do that.
I used to do that.
I used to have to fall asleep with the TV on because she had to have the TV on, and I couldn't have. Back in the day, I would read, but to do that before Kindles and stuff, you had to have the lights on.
Yep.
So I went through all these machinations trying to figure out some kind of light that I could have on so I could read that wouldn't keep her up because she couldn't stand it. And then I couldn't stand her having the effing TV on. And eventually they came out with Kindles and she started, listening to meditative music or something instead. And now it's, somewhat better.
I'm a huge fan of the
and we both got BiPAPs and CPAPs so we don't snore each other.
Yeah, we don't snore each other out. We're a pair.
You're like an old
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well,
that is funny.
All right, very good. I think we hit that
Cool,
one.
yeah.
Thank you.
So good luck,
Excellent
guys.
question here.
Today's episode is brought to you by Angie. Angie has made it easier than ever to connect with skilled professionals to get all your jobs and projects done well. Let me tell you, there's the version of it where you try to do something at home, and then there's a version of it where you have someone help you, you watch them do it the right way, and you go, thank God I didn't try to do that myself. I have fully done things around the home that I think look good, and then a bang in the night, and I wake up to a shelf collapsing, a painting falling off the wall. I've seen it all go south. I own a home, and I can tell you, I know how much work it can take. Whether it's everyday maintenance and repairs or making dream projects a reality, it can be hard just to know where to start. But now all you need to do is Angie that and find a skilled local pro who will deliver the quality and expertise you need. Whatever your home project, big or small, indoor or outdoor, you can Angie that and connect with skilled professionals to get the project done well. Right now, one of my wish lists is I want a bike for my condo in Milwaukee, and I would love to rig it up on a pulley in the ceiling because I have one of those lofted ceilings, but I'm so scared to try that on my own. Angie has 20 years of home experience, and they've combined it with new tools to simplify the whole process. Bring them your project online or with the Angie app. Answer a few questions and Angie can handle the rest from start to finish, or help you compare quotes from multiple pros and connect instantly, which means you can take care of any home project in just a few taps. Because when it comes to getting the most out of your home, you can do this when you Angie that. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
This is what you do when you've just found that statement handbag on eBay and you want to build an entire wardrobe around it. You start selling to keep buying. Yep, on eBay. Over that all-black everything phase? List it and buy all the color. Feeling more vintage than ever? It's out with the new and in with the pre-loved. Next thing you know, you've refreshed your wardrobe basically without spending a dime. Yeah, eBay, the place to buy and sell new, pre-loved, vintage, and rare fashion.
Earning your degree online doesn't mean you have to go about it alone. At Capella University, we're here to support you when you're ready. From enrollment counselors who get to know you and your goals, to academic coaches who can help you form a plan to stay on track. We care about your success and are dedicated to helping you pursue your goals. Going back to school is a big step, but having support at every step of your academic journey can make a big difference. Imagine your future differently at capella.edu.
Introducing our biggest GMC Acadia ever, offering bigger screens, bigger views, and even bigger journeys. Live your biggest life in the all-new GMC Acadia.
Hi, I'm Lara, and this is the Lara Bar story. I was on a hike in the Rocky Mountains when I felt inspired to make something that tastes indulgent and delicious using just fruit and nuts. 20 years later, Lara Bar is still at it. From chocolate chip cookie dough to cherry pie, there's a Lara Bar made for you. 100% real, 100% delicious. That's Lara Bar. Find your flavor at larabar.com.
Here's another one from the Fluid family.
Hey, Steve. I'd like to remain nameless, but I have a question about urine therapy. Is there any real science supporting this, or is it just a hoax?
Yep.
Because I hear that urine has some sort of coating that when you drink it tells your body what you may or may not.
No, if you drink urine, it tells your body that you're on the middle of the ocean and you're getting ready to die and you're desperate.
That's right. You've run it
as far as fighting,
ran out of water
for your immune system and stuff. Anyways, figured I'd ask. Thank you. Bye.
Look, I have an open mind, and I've looked this up before, and there's no data anywhere. There's a lot of anecdotal stuff there, and they'll say, well, you're reclaiming vitamins. Well, you're not, though. Here's the thing. The vitamins that you piss out are mostly B vitamins and vitamin C. A, D, E, and K are all vitamins that are fat soluble.
Right. Water soluble.
All the rest of them are water soluble. And if you don't need them, you piss them out. Right. So if you drink your urine, you are drinking your own urine, and you're still going to piss, right? And you're not going to gain any vitamins because your body pissed them out because you didn't need them.
And you're probably going to piss them out a second time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you still don't need them.
Yes, and you're just don't do that. Now, having said that, there are some uses for urine.
Sure.
If people but there's an easier way to do it. If people have dry, crusty feet, sometimes they'll piss on their feet.
That's so gross.
And what it is, the urea in the urine actually acts as a softener. So it's a keratolytic. It will it will increase the maceration of the tissues, and when you get too far, the tissues turn white and get weird looking and pruny. But we use urea cream to soften toenails. If we're going to take a toenail off, we'll have somebody put urea cream on the toenail for like a week and then they come in and it'll soften it up so we can burr it down or whatever. And urea cream is sold. I don't think they extract it from urine. It's probably, hopefully, made in the laboratory, but they'll make that, as a skin moisturizer or a skin softener if you got big, thick calluses and stuff. Pregnant mare's urine is used in the past to make estrogen.
Right.
So they would take a pregnant mare and catheterize them. These poor animals, good Lord, just trying to carry a baby around. And you got these idiots catheterizing them. And they would collect the urine, and it would have tons of estrogen in it. And then you could extract it from the urine and put it in pills and make women take it when they went through menopause.
Took it.
Yeah,
but you don't drink
Premarin.
You don't drink the urine.
Right. You could just put your mouth to the faucet, I guess. But wouldn't you rather just take a pill?
Yeah, I think pilling a little bit less messy.
It's a great question, though. If I ever find any positive benefit to urine therapy, then I will absolutely.
Maybe if you get stung by a jellyfish,
no.
urine therapy is good.
Yes. Pissing on wounds and stuff's totally fine. Got no problem with it.
Yep, I'm with you.
All right. Now, this is another insomnia.
Hey, Dr. Steve, it's Dennis in Indiana.
Hey, Dennis.
Sleepless in Indiana.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Hey, I've tried Ambien and all those other latest and greatest sleeping pills. They don't work. Back on trazodone, which barely works, but just wondering what you recommend for an insomnia, if there's something natural or something.
That's an interesting question today. Both of those came in within minutes of each other. Let's just talk about trazodone for a second, because Dennis, I think we covered a lot of the natural stuff. And sleep hygiene, and if you are wound up during the day and you lay down and your mind is just racing, I do highly recommend the TRIP app, TRIPP, for Oculus. Every one that I've tried it on has all said I would buy that, and some of them have gone out and bought it. And every single one that's tried it has had a stress level that was higher before they did it than after, and it's 10 minutes. Right. It's basically a 3D virtual environment where you learn breathing and breathing techniques and meditative techniques. And it's not, I mean, it is new agey, but it's also, well, I guess what's more new age than virtual reality? I mean, it's in a virtual reality environment. It is the coolest damn thing. We did it on Bobby Kelly, and he literally fell asleep
within minutes, seconds,
sitting in a chair. I mean, we had to catch him. That was crazy. I've put people who were crawling out of their skin on the TRIP app, and they all have 100%. I mean, it's 100% effective.
Wow.
So it's amazing. So that's something. And the other thing is, for me, and this is just me, I have my Kindle, and I have an iPad with the Kindle app on it. Who cares? Why did I have to go through so much detail? But I have my reading device, and I've got the blue phosphors turned off with black background with white letters so that it's not just light going into my eyes. And as I'm reading, it kind of sets my brain into neutral because you're paying attention to the reading. You're not worrying about all the things that you're worried about. And reading is one of those things I think it's underestimated as a mindfulness technique. Well, as a meditation technique because you're actually turning off your brain. You're not thinking about other stuff. You're just focusing on what's on the page. It's just like a big long mantra in a way. And for me, that puts me right to sleep. If I'm worried about something, or if I wake up and it's like, oh God, I've only got 4 hours to sleep, and then I've only got 3 hours, I just pick up my book, and then within a few minutes I'm asleep again.
Well, you know why that? I think why that works like that is because your brain at night compartmentalizes things really well. And when you've got a lot going on, you're not compartmentalizing things well. So you're too scattered.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of brings you back to focus. And, that's why I think the meditation is so important, because it teaches you to allow those thoughts to go through your brain without focusing on them or without fighting them.
Yeah.
And just allows you to accept them and hopefully conk out and go to sleep.
What's kind of it just reminds me of this idea that when they changed the liturgy to English, that it decreased the value for some people of going to a religious service like Catholic Mass or Episcopal Mass or whatever. That when it was in Latin, the people that were there didn't understand Latin. And so it was just became a meditative thing because their brain just goes into a different state. But then when they changed it to English, all of a sudden your brain is engaging with it. And that engagement actually decreases the value for some people of attaining a sort of different, altered state of being, religious fervor kind of thing. So that's kind of interesting. All right. We get that one?
Yep.
Okay. Very good. All right. Let's toss that into the old trash. There you go. Okay. Oh, Tacie, this is one for you.
Hey, Dr. Steve, got a question for you. I'm a normal, every morning after my coffee, take a poop kind of guy every single day, like clockwork. However, if I'm traveling away from my house, especially if I'm going camping, I can't poop. I get constipated or blocked up, barely go until I get back home. Is this some weird survival thing? Is there something I'm eating? What do you think, Dr. Steve? Thanks.
That's a great question.
It is a great question.
Isn't that interesting that your colon and your intestines understand that you're not in a safe place to go to the bathroom? And I mean, I have nothing else to say about it. I mean, you can take Miralax with you and try that and see if that helps. But
you don't want to do it the day you're going to fly, the night before you're going to fly.
No, I mean, I take
No one wants to shit in the air. I mean, the airport's okay, but on a plane
or
toilet,
a bus or a train.
Oh, God, bus is the worst. And no one wants you to shit in there.
No.
That's the thing.
Hey, I've got a great story. We were playing at Western Kentucky, and we had a guy named Chris Turner who went on the big leagues with the Yankees. He made a deposit in the back of our bus about halfway home from Houston one day, and it was so awful that the bus driver pulled the bus over and dumped it into the drainage system beside the.
Oh my God!
And put it. And we got back and got
Did
back
that
on the
help?
interstate. Hell yeah, it helped. Thank God, it was awful. I hope and easy.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than being on a bus going to Albuquerque or something, and you go back there and somebody just shit all over the seat and all over the place. It's so, that's disgusting.
I mean, there are medications if you're chronically constipated, but I think if it's, what do they call that? Just if you're traveling.
Well, there's you've always heard of traveler's diarrhea, but there's the traveler's constipation too is the same thing. And I think you're right. I think you're not comfortable.
Yeah.
You're not where you want to be. You don't. Maybe the noises around you are weird, or you're afraid somebody else is
in the woods. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, or so
or a
maybe
plane. It's disgusting.
We're hardwired because the saber-toothed tigers are. We don't know where they are.
Mm-hmm.
And
but I think Miralax
might
be a good fit.
Yep, absolutely.
Or a Docalax every now and then, not consistently, right? Just
yeah. Well, sleep disruptions, or you change time zones, that can do it.
Sure.
There was a study in the in the Journal of Neurogastroenterology and Motility. It said poor sleep affects bowel function. And that was an internet survey of patients with chronic constipation focused on correlations between sleep quality, symptom severity, and quality of life. And people who traveled just reported that. They don't really have a lot to say other than, yeah, you're not alone.
Yeah.
So, I'm looking at an article that says, before your trip, consider probiotics. I think this is idiotic advice. Couldn't hurt to take a probiotic supplement or eat yogurt with live cultures before you hit the road. Actually, yogurt can cause constipation, so you got to be careful. You need to know how this stuff affects you. But then they say for best results, get into the habit of consuming kimchi, sauerkraut tempeh, or yogurt for at least a few days before you leave home and continue throughout your time. Well, it doesn't sound like a vacation to be eating sauerkraut.
And another good point is you got to know how the Miralax affects you. You just don't want to take it.
Don't just go buy it.
And then take it on a trip.
Right.
Because then you may end up on a plane having to go to the bathroom.
Those plane toilets.
Mm-hmm.
They're the worst.
They're not bad in first class, though.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
Well, please tell us more.
Wow, that is very interesting. Please tell me more.
Quite peaceful and wouldn't be a bad place to take a dump.
Really?
I mean, not that I would, but I mean, it's just so clean compared to back in the back.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, with those people in coach, you mean?
Poor coach.
God, you're the worst.
I've gotten lucky and gotten upgraded a few times here lately, and
yes, we do not pay for first class.
It's
Is that what happens when you become retired? You get to magically move to first class, Dr. Steve? I don't know.
Yeah, I always request it, and I didn't get it last time, and I was like, damn it.
Yeah, she only got Comfort Plus.
Oh, my gosh.
And they have to use the same shitter as everybody else.
Lord and Lady Douchebag.
It's so nice.
I'm going to edit that to just say Lady Douchebag. When Tacie talks about how fancy she is. Let me see if I can make it do that. Hang on a second. Hang on.
And Lady Douchebag.
Close. Okay. All right. Here you go. Dr. Scott, here's a good one.
Tacie, Dr. Scott.
Hey.
This is Chuck from Ohio.
Hey.
Hey, I have a question for you. When I went to my primary care physician, he did my PSA test, and he shows my number trending upwards. I'm not to the action level yet, but I am just turned 60, and I was just wondering what I can do to try to lower my PSA results. Appreciate it, and I appreciate all the work you've done on your podcast too.
Hey, thanks, man.
Going through COVID, I think Tacie asked a lot of good questions.
Yeah, she sure did.
So thank you very much.
Held my feet to the fire. I think he was calling from inside of a hyperbaric chamber. So, you got any natural methods to lower your PSA or to prevent elevation of your PSA? I've got a couple.
Well, I think it's a couple things. You have to start early and maintain healthy prostate habits forever. Like what? The soft daily bowel movements. None of the hard American stools that rub and irritate the prostate for years.
Okay.
It does help to evacuate your prostate on a regular basis. Yeah, so
excellent.
You can have help or you can do it alone. Whatever serves you. You're the best.
I think they probably figured that out.
but certainly there. I think having a really well balanced diet full of appropriate supplements are good. Yeah.
Give thyself a bell.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yes.
I was waiting for somebody to say diet changes.
How do I know about a PSA? That's totally unfair.
Right. Well, then we've got some.
One to zip.
I'm sure we have some ovary questions that you can weigh in on here in a minute. Healthy diet, more fruits and vegetables may result in lower PSA levels, and it may just make you feel better all over the place. And exercise, obesity contributes to a lot of problems, including problems with prostate. So exercise and weight loss, you may get benefit. These are all may. Managing stress, You cannot separate mind from body, so we're going to say that on everything. And there is some data that show a positive link between aspirin use and prostate health. Now, one thing I'm interested in is shrinking the prostate, and there are a couple of ways that you can do that if somebody's got a big, meaty prostate. And one is using finasteride. And finasteride, it blocks testosterone at the level of the hair follicle and at the level of the prostate. So it can result in a smaller prostate. I'm interested to see if there's any data, if there is a correlation between taking finasteride and prostate cancer, because that's what he's worried about. We don't care what your PSA is if you never have prostate cancer or have bladder outflow obstruction. What we're really interested in is preventing morbidity and mortality. So that would be, are you looking that up?
No.
Oh, okay, so I said, I would be very interested. And then you went and started typing on your keyboard. I'm like, hey, Scott's checking that out.
Hell no, I'm talking to Fluid Family and doing those things.
Okay.
Checking email.
And then Tacey's checking email. Good Lord. Okay, so will you make a note of that?
Yes,
and
sir.
I'll check that to see. And one of the other things that may be beneficial and I'm going to look for data on that for next show, hard data, is this saw palmetto stuff. I had urologists tell me that saw palmetto is as effective as finasteride for some patients.
Yes.
And that does that translate into decreased morbidity and mortality? I don't know the answer to that, but I want hard numbers before I recommend it.
Go ahead. And being a supplement, they may not have the extensive research that they would for a pharmaceutical medication, a prescription medication.
Yeah.
But there are a number of really good supplements out there, and you can find them all over the internet that I have seen work extremely well for prostatitis and swollen prostates.
Well, here's something from Western New York Urology Associates. They said studies show saw palmetto is equally effective for reducing symptoms of benign prostatic hypertrophy, which would be peeing in the middle of the night, more than 3 or 4 times, nocturia, we call that, or bladder outflow obstruction and other symptoms. It says it has one meaningful advantage. It leaves PSA levels unchanged. So my hypothesis, at least according to these studies, is not good, that it may reduce the symptoms of benign prostatic hypertrophy, but it doesn't necessarily change the size of the prostate or the amount of PSA that's removed or released. So, but I will look for that.
Okay.
And if I find something really interesting, we'll make a little topic out of it next time.
Okay, cool.
All right. Okay. Oh, this is a really good question.
Hi, Dr. Steve, Tacie, Dr. Scott. This is
Hey.
from Ohio again.
Okay.
Hey, I was catching up on your prior podcast where you were discussing dreams. I'm a person who only really remembers their dreams if I'm suddenly awakened. But a few years back, my cardiologist put me on a beta blocker,
Metoprolol, yes.
And I started remembering all my dreams, thought I was waking up. And after a while, I decided not to keep on that drug anymore. Stopped off it, and I stopped remembering my dreams.
Yep.
Wonder if you know anything about this. I know this is an N-1, but just kind of curious if what's going on there.
Yeah.
And if you have any.
Yeah, absolutely. So, dreams are complex. The brain is complex. And when you have medications that cross the blood-brain barrier, some of them might affect your dreams. And it turns out metoprolol is one of them. As a matter of fact, beta blockers are one of the most common medications that can cause disturbed dreaming, vivid dreams, and about 1/3 of people that have nightmares are taking beta blockers. Now, I have nightmares every once in a while, but it's always I smoked a pack of cigarettes, and then I woke up, or I murdered somebody, and then I'm just hanging around with people. Hey, how's it going, Steve? Blah, blah. And I know I murdered somebody, and the net is getting closer, and everybody's going to find out. And then I wake up in a cold sweat going, thank God that was a dream.
I take that medication, and that's interesting.
You take metoprolol?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you do? That is correct. Yes.
and so I can never find anything in my dream, and it's very disturbing. You wouldn't think it would be so disturbing, but where's my car?
Oh, but that's
where's my hairbrush?
That's one of your things, though.
Yeah.
Tacie sometimes, particularly back in the day, would at midnight go, "Oh my God, where are my keys?" and then start pawing through everything, and I'd hear shik, 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 shik. It's like, "What are you doing?" "I can't find my keys," and then she would get mad at me if I didn't help her. And I think some of this was Ambien driven.
Well, probably. Ambien did a lot of stuff to me, but yeah.
But now that's interesting. So, but that's kind of your thing, is if you can't find something, it causes you a lot of anxiety.
Yeah, so that's pretty much my dream pattern. Having a decent day, and I always remember pretty well, and I lose shit, and then I go nuts, and then I never find it, and I wake up. And
right. Were you taking that stuff when you were having your hypnopompic episodes? You probably were.
No.
No, you weren't. Interesting. Okay, so just changing the beta blocker can change the dream pattern. So there are other beta blockers. I wouldn't use propranolol anymore. It's a little bit just too. It's it is the first beta blocker basically. But there's bisoprolol, carvedilol. There's other ones. Labetalol.
Now, it didn't affect my blood pressure very much. Is that typical of a beta blocker? I mean, it really didn't bring it down like...
Why are you taking it?
Well, because for blood pressure.
Well, then, no, it's ineffective then.
but now that plus the losartan...
together. But I wonder if you need the beta blocker
I don't
at that
know.
point. So.
I mean, but then talk to me about how beta blockers can help with anxiety and things.
Right. Well, one of the things that they do is decrease the tone to the heart from the autonomic nervous system. So it actually slows down the heart. It decreases epinephrine response and those kinds of things. So it can blunt the physical manifestations of anxiety.
I think that the reason I was on it was because my whatchamajigger was high.
Your whatchamajigger?
Yeah, the thing where they put on your finger. Pulse
ox.
Oh, your pulse ox was high? Oh, you were
not
hyperventilating?
My pulse ox, but just the pulse.
So just your pulse rate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So it will decrease pulse rate, and it actually it can make, like, runners that are on a beta blocker will hit a wall faster because they can't maximally exercise anymore because of the beta blocker. So.
And Synthroid increases, right, your pulse rate.
That is correct. That is correct. Well, if you're taking the proper amount of thyroid hormone, it shouldn't increase pathologically. If it's pathologically high, then you're taking too much Synthroid.
You will take that out of my cold, dead hands.
She loves her Synthroid.
I do love my
Crazier
Synthroid.
than hell. Okay, before we go, let's do one more here. Let's see. Let's try this one. Oop.
Dr. Steve, it's
Yes.
Matt from Charleston.
Hey, Matt.
Just read a clickbaity article about Gwyneth Paltrow and how she uses rectal ozone therapy.
Well, she's a genius.
And this apparently introduces medical-grade ozone gas directly into the colon via the rectum of an individual.
Mm-hmm.
And this individual is Gwyneth Paltrow. What the heck is that about? Is that helping? Is that some weird stuff that celebrities do that doesn't really do anything?
Yes and no. That's the problem with this stuff, is people like her, and I'm sure she's a delightful person, but people like her will latch on to stuff like this because there is some data on colonic ozone, right? Mm-hmm. It's known to kill bacteria. It exerts toxic effects on human tissues, but it's used for treatment of diseases like inflammatory bowel disease in some European countries. And it's really been unexplored when it comes to the data. So I'm looking at the effect of ozone on colonic epithelial cells in a Karumi Medical Journal. I don't know what this journal is. And they said that they found intrarectal administration of ozone gas induced transient, meaning short-lived, colonic epithelial cell damage characterized by the impairment of cell survival pathways involved in DNA replication, cell cycle, and mismatch repair.
Oh,
so it killed. So well, okay. So what they're saying is it killed colonic, cells that line the colon. But it said the damaged cells were rapidly extruded from the epithelial layers, meaning sloughed off, and appeared to immediately stimulate turnover of the epithelial layer of the colon. Epithelial layer of the colon is just the inner lining, that really active layer. Therefore, it is possible ozone gas is able to trigger damage-induced rapid regeneration of intestinal epithelial cells. So they don't give what the concentrations were. They don't give shit. And so that's the problem I have. You got Gwyneth. Well, how is she generating ozone, and what concentration is she shoving up her ass?
Yeah, because excessive amounts of ozone are dangerous.
It can kill you.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, there are, here's the effect of ozone therapy on the healing of colonic anastomosis. This is where when you resect part of someone's colon, when you attach the two ends together, that is called reanastomosis. And they did this on rats. And they said, conclusion, ozone therapy had a beneficial effect on anastomotic healing of the colon in the presence of peritonitis. So there are some things that they'll study going forward. Yeah. Here's one on ozone therapy in cancer patients for, I had it here. Okay, here we go. Oxygen ozone therapy as support and palliative therapy in 50 cancer patients with fatigue, a short report. And this is from, it doesn't even say what journal it's in. Oh, the European Review of Medical and Pharmacologic Science. And they gave 50 patients with cancer and fatigue were treated with auto hemotransfusion according to blah, 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 protocols 2 times a week for a month. So what they did was they took their blood out, treated it with ozone, and then shoved it back in them, it looks like. And it says here that the preliminary data demonstrate ozone therapy was valid supportive therapy for fatigue in cancer patients. Now, there's no placebo, so just... this is not, it's very, almost just 50 anecdotal events. So, does ozone alleviate AIDS diarrhea? The result of the series suggests that medical ozone administered by rectal insufflation is simple, safe, and effective. So, there you go. And that kind of makes sense in the light of that other study that showed that the ozone caused rapid turnover of colonic mucous membrane cells, and if they were damaged, then that might improve the function of the colon. So I think there may be something there, but just doing it just to do it. Yeah. If she doesn't have irritable bowel syndrome or something else, well, what she thinks she's doing with this? That's my issue.
Goop.
Yeah, Goop.
Yeah, she's
Goop,
doing Goop.
Goop can
Lots
kiss
of people
my ass.
follow Goop.
Scorn and defiance. Slight regard.
There you go. That's what I say. You know what else I say to Gwyneth Paltrow?
Can you please stop bullshitting?
Yeah, so anyway. Or maybe a little more forceful.
You are a liar, actress, go the f*** out.
She is an actress.
Yes, she is.
Davide. So, all right?
Yes.
So I don't know. Maybe there's some medical
we're
use
studying it moving forward.
Yes, it's worth looking at. I mean, ozone is easy to produce. It is extremely effective at killing cells, and some cells need to be killed. But it is non-specific. So if you have cancer and someone's offering you ozone for your cancer, I would decline very gracefully, but I would still decline because it's going to probably kill other cells as well. All right?
Yep.
All right, well, let's get out of here. Thanks always go to Dr. Scott. Thanks, Tacie. Thanks to everyone who made the show happen over the years. Listen to our SiriusXM show on the Faction Talk channel, SiriusXM channel 103, Saturdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern on demand, and other times at Jim McClure's pleasure. Many thanks to our listeners whose voicemails and topic ideas make this job very easy, and shout out to the Fluid family in our YouTube channel chat. Go to our website at drsteve.com for schedules, podcasts, and other crap. Until next time, check your stupid nuts for lumps, quit smoking, get off your asses, and get some exercise. We'll see you in 1 week for the next edition of Weird Medicine. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
See you guys.